Good morning, girls. In the last class, we learnt about the 9 Mughal rulers who were known as the later Mughals. And these 9 rulers, they came to power after the death of Aurangzeb. Now, I had asked you all to read about the later Mughals, which were given in your textbooks. I hope you all have gone through the description. Today we'll be discussing about the causes that led to the decline of the Mughal Empire. So we'll begin with the class. Causes for decline of the Mughal Empire. The following factors led to the decline of the Mughal Empire. Aurangzeb's policies. So the first factor, the first reason which led to the fall of the Mughal Empire was the policies which were followed by Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb gave up Akbar's policies of diplomacy and religious tolerance. So, Aurangzeb came after Akbar. Akbar was succeeded by Aurangzeb, and when Aurangzeb came to power, he gave up the policies of diplomacy and religious tolerance. Now, these policies they were followed by Akbar. Akbar followed the policy of diplomacy. Diplomacy is a person's skill to manage relations, to manage international relations. So, Akbar had the skill of managing, he had the skill to manage relations, and he also followed the policy of religious tolerance. Religious tolerance is one where every person, every individual is given the freedom to think and to practice his own religion and beliefs. So these two policies which were practiced, which were followed by Akbar, were given up when Aurangzeb came to power. He reimposed jizya and the pilgrim tax on the non-Muslims and removed them from the high posts under the state. So when Aurangzeb, when he came to power, he reimposed means to impose something again. These taxes which once existed, they were removed by Akbar, but when Aurangzeb came to power, he reimposed these taxes. Now, first tax was a jizya. The jizya was a tax which the non-Muslims had to pay, and the pilgrim tax. Pilgrim tax is a tax which a person has to pay when they make a journey, when they make a visit to any sacred place. So both these taxes, both the jizya and the pilgrim tax, they were reimposed by Aurangzeb only on the non-Muslims, and these non-Muslims, they were removed from high positions, they were removed from high posts, and they were not allowed to have any high positions under the state. He interfered in the internal matters of the Rajputs and made them his bitter enemies. So when Aurangzeb, when he came to power, he interfere means to get involved into something without their permission. So he interfered in the internal matters of the Rajputs without their permission, and this led to the enmity between the Rajputs and Aurangzeb. His revenue officers oppressed the peasants, and this led to a discontent among them. So his revenue officers, his officers who used to collect revenue taxes, they used to ill-treat the peasants. Oppress means to treat them badly, or to treat in a cruel way. So they used to ill-treat the farmers, and this led to a dissatisfaction among the peasants. The farmers, they were dissatisfied with this oppression. These policies of Aurangzeb led to rebellions by the Jats, the Bundelas, the Rajputs, the Satnamis, the Sikhs, and the Marathas. So all these practice of taxes on the non-Muslims, the practice of the interference and oppressions which the peasants had to face, all these policies was created dissatisfaction. The Jats, the Bundelas, the Rajputs, the Satnamis, the Sikhs, and the Marathas, they began to revolt against Aurangzeb because of his policies. Aurangzeb's policies of continuous war in the Deccan further weakened the empire. So Aurangzeb, when he came to power, there were many continuous wars in the Deccan region. Deccan is a region which is central, or the central and the south part of India is a Deccan part. So there were many continuous wars happening in the Deccan region when Aurangzeb came to power. So this weakened the empire. By his endless wars in the Deccan, Aurangzeb lost control over his administration and officers in the north. So, when there were continuous wars in the central and the southern part of India, he lost control in the north. He could not concentrate in the northern part, and he lost control over his administration, over his management and the officers. He lost control over the administration and officers in the northern region. His long absence from the north emboldened the local chiefs and zamindars to defy the local authorities and governors of petty states to assert their independence. So when Aurangzeb, when he concentrated on the continuous wars in the Deccan region, he could not attend to the northern part. He could not attend to the administration of the northern part, and his absence from the north gave a chance to the local chiefs and the zamindars. The local chiefs and the zamindars of the northern region started to establish their power when Aurangzeb was absent from the northern part. It gave them the courage to go against the local authorities. It gave them the power to go against, to refuse they refused to obey the governors and the authorities, and they started to declare their independence. The local chiefs and the zamindars of the northern region, they started to declare their independence. These wars also drained the resources of the Mughal Empire. So when there were continuous wars happening in the Deccan region, their resources began to empty out. They started to lose all their resources. All their resources started to drain, started to empty out. So this is the first cause, the policies which are followed by Aurangzeb. The first one was a tax system, the tax system which was reimposed on the non-Muslims. Then his interference in the internal matters of the Rajputs. Then the oppressions which the peasants, which the farmers had to face, and also his policy of constant wars in the Deccan region. Now we'll move on to the second cause, weak successors of Aurangzeb. The successors of Aurangzeb were incapable of maintaining the integrity of such a vast empire. So all the successors, all the rulers who came after Aurangzeb, they were not capable, they were incapable, they did not have the ability to maintain the unity of such a vast empire. Now the Mughal Empire, it was a very vast empire. So all the rulers who came after Aurangzeb, they did not have the ability, they did not have the skill to maintain the unity of such a vast empire. They left the affairs of the empire in the hands of their nobles and governors. So since they did not have the skill, they left all the matters in the hands of the nobles and the governors. The nobles and the governors of the region were given the duty to handle to administer the place, to administer the empire. The intrigues of the nobility made it difficult for the later Mughals to rule the empire peacefully. So the nobles, they started to make intrigues. Intrigue means conspiracy or secret plans. So they began to plot against the Mughal empire, and this made the later the rulers who came after Aurangzeb to rule the empire peacefully. The rulers who came after the later Mughals, that is the rulers who came after Aurangzeb, they could not rule peacefully because of the plotting because of the secret plans which were made by the nobles, that is a high class people. As and when the central authority grew weak, the nobles and governors declared their independence. So every time when the central authority, every time when the central power, that is the central power of the Mughal empire, when it grew weak, the nobles, the high class people and the governors, they started to declare their independence. So this is about the weak successors. The weak successors of Aurangzeb is another cause which led to the decline of the Mughal empire. So today we discussed about two causes. The first one was the policies which are followed by Aurangzeb, and the weak successors, the rulers who came, the weak rulers who came after Aurangzeb. So these are the two factors we discussed today. Now we'll stop for today, and we'll continue with the rest of the causes in the next class. Thank you, girls.